Good evening, everyone. That's what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. We're going to try that one more time. You'll find out in a couple seconds. But I'm from a small town, and small town folks, like where I'm from, we always talk to each other, greet each other. So we're going to try that again. Good evening. Ooh, that was good, but I think we could do a little better just from the bottom of your stomach. We're going to bring out, we haven't seen each other in a while. You're so excited. Usually in my town, there's not a lot going on, so we usually find each other at Walmart. That's the thing. So you just seen each other for the first time in a while at Walmart. We're going to do this one more time. Good evening. Yes, thank you so much. I am honored that I get to be the first to welcome you to this evening to the Lincoln Street Club for this year's Smart Girls, Strong Woman event. You can clap for that. I always tell the students when we have like meetings and we have our pictures up, I'm like, I have not looked like that in about 10 years, but that was a really good year, so I can't go away from that picture, right? There's some of those I was like, that was great hair, my skin had it together, why would I ever change that? As the slide says, my name is Maddie White, and I currently serve as a Deputy Athletic Director, Senior Woman Administrator at Indiana University. And what I'm most excited about is tonight, I'm your MC. Come on. I know, stuff I get to write home. I told my mom about. She was actually calling me before this event started, like over at the table, and I was like, she knows I'm excited. I'm like, Mom, I'm the MC, okay? I'm MCing tonight. Our focus tonight is on the value of mentoring young girls to grow to be strong women in society. Tonight you will hear from our panelists, moderator, club teens, and even our auctioneer about the value the club brings to kids. We are highlighting role models that focuses on the value of education and service in our lives, things that are of great importance to me. When a caring adult mentor values education and models what it means to serve in their community, it sets a child on a pathway to be a lifelong learner with a generous heart. If we can raise girls to be women like that, there is no limit to what we can achieve in this world. And I know this evening will inspire and uplift us all. I also know this evening will help us raise a lot of money, right? There we go, for the Boys and Girls Club. So thank you for being here tonight to support the club. I know you are here because this mission matters to you. That is why I'm here too. I really believe in what the club does. Investing in the lives of young people is the most important thing we can do to influence the future of our world. I stand here today as the product of people who invested in me. Being raised by a single mother in a small rural environment, one of the best things my mother did for me was put me in a position where I could be surrounded by great, caring people. She knew, as a single mom, she couldn't do it alone, and she created a dynamic village for me to flourish. Those people in my village loved me when they didn't have to, and they always gave me their very best. When I think back to my youth, had it not been for my church and opportunities to be involved in things like sports, I'm not sure what my future would have looked like. We didn't have anything like the Boys and Girls Club in my community. Two special people in my life were Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. They were neighbors, the parents of two of my childhood friends. Mr. Thompson was our bus driver, which we annoyed him a lot, but he was a great bus driver. Clearly I'm here so he could drive, but also a coach in our community. He actually founded our youth basketball league that was for girls in my community, and because of his efforts, we were introduced to organized basketball in the 5th and 6th grade. To me, Mr. Thompson was my coach because I played on his team those 2 years, and then he became my throws coach on the track and field team from 7th to 12th grade. 2 weeks ago, though, I unexpectedly lost my coach. Oh, Lord. Thankfully, I got to speak to him the day before he died and shared his significance in my life at his funeral. However, I never publicly have been able to give his wife, Mrs. Thompson, the praise for her role in helping me become a smart girl and a strong woman. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson didn't have much, but whatever they had, they were willing to give. While I lost Mr. Thompson recently, we lost Mrs. Thompson in 2000 from cancer. Ironically, I didn't get to speak at her funeral because I was speaking at Ohio University at the freshman convocation. So I was a sophomore, and I was like, man, I get to tell these freshmen how it is. That short little woman, Mrs. Thompson, was our unofficial assistant throw coach and statistician. She always carried a little notebook that she brought to every track meet. Rain, sun, snow, whatever, she would write down every throw that we took from 7th to 12th grade. Even though she couldn't provide me with technical advice, at times she was way more impactful than Mr. Thompson. Now, he could motivate me by speaking to my heart, challenging my mind, giving me throwing tips, or even, as he would say, as all else fails, he'd make me run the hills by where we would throw. But Mrs. Thompson, she spoke to my soul. Affectionately referring to me as Matt, she understood how a young developing woman sometimes couldn't find her courage on her own. In those moments when I needed to feel strong, she helped me find my strength. In high school track, not trying to brag, but I won a lot. But she wanted me to win and so much more. Mrs. Thompson wanted me to be a winner in life, and for that, I'm truly grateful. So this evening, in the spirit of the Thompsons, I'll get through the night, I promise. I'll get through this page, I'll be good. Parents like my mom, who loved me more than she loved herself, but needed a little help, and those beautiful people in my village, I hope you are willing to not only love kids for no reason, kids you don't know, kids you might never meet, but also be willing to give them your very best to ensure that they too can win in life. I'm honored to be here tonight, to be a part of this program, and part of seeing all kids receive the opportunities that they deserve. And again, I'm so thankful that you have joined me here for this great mission. We also have I'm gonna go from that to talking about our drinks, okay? That's my village and then some drinks. Thank you all. I might need a drink at the intermission. We also have so many of you to thank for sponsoring this event, which makes this whole thing possible. First, I want to thank Finney Group. I'm sure all of you are enjoying your wonderful meal. All of the food this evening was graciously donated by Finney Hospitality Group, owners of TAP, Yogi's, Smokeworks, and Social Cantina, where the food came from tonight. So let's give them a round of applause. The cocktails and mocktails were provided by Cardinal Spirits, and the coffee was provided by Verona Coffee House. Thank you both so much. Now, outside of coffee, what some of my coworkers know about me, and I talked about track. Well, I was a thrower. I wasn't a runner, and I barely can walk on good days. So let's thank Go Express for travel, for providing the shuttle to this evening in Monroe County Convention Center, for allowing us to use their parking lot. I also want to say a few thank yous to the Bloomington Fire Department for helping with the event setup. Thanks to Bloomington High School North Athletic Board, Bloomington High School South Honor Society, Chi Phi Fraternity, Lambda Sigma Epsilon Latino Fraternity, and other individuals for volunteering this evening. Also, thank you to Nature's Way for providing the lovely plants on stage, and the Seedlings for providing the beautiful tulips at your tables. We simply could not do this event without the generosity of these folks who donate to ensure that the money we raise gets used directly for youth programming. So thank you all so much. Now the part of the night we all need to know about, where the bathrooms are. So the restrooms, a couple other logistics. The restrooms are to my left, your right, through the doors in the teen center. Also, we'll do a prize drawing tonight after the live auction and fundraising concludes, so don't leave early. We have a package by Cardinal Spirits, a basket of club swag, including a comfy throw blanket, gift card, and coffee from Verona Coffee House, and a signed basketball from Coach Terry Morin. There you go. You must be present, though, to win, so make sure you have your ticket ready for that. You got a ticket when you came in tonight with your bid number. At this time, I would like to ask that all the Boys and Girls Club members and ambassadors who are present to please stand for a round of applause. Come on, come on, come on. These people work tirelessly to support the organization and keep it going, and we are thankful for their work, so thank you. I'd also like to recognize our great table sponsors who have so generously agreed to support this event. You will see their logos on your tables and their names and your programs on the screen up front. And this is the part where I'll say, if I mispronounce anything or any names for the rest of the night, please charge it to my head and not my heart. And some of the words I might skip over, as I told Leslie, because I don't know how to say them. So here we go. We'd like to specifically thank the presenting sponsor, Old National Bank. Scott Shishman and the banking team at Old National have supported the club year after year at the highest levels. They value the community and the work done to invest in the lives of kids. Thank you so much, Old National Bank. Thank you to Platinum sponsor, Comprehensive Financial Consultants. David Hayes is a board member. He was a club kid and has been a supporter of the club ever since. Thanks to David and our friends at CFCI for their support. Thank you to our gold sponsors, Service Masters Restoration and Cleaning. Thank you, Dusty Bean. The Ann St. John Legacy Fund, we are so thankful for Michael May, the May family, and the St. John family. Choice Realty, thank you, Club Board member Lori Todd. Elmore Group, thanks DG, Gant, and the whole Elmore family. '80/20 Agency, thank you, Kelly King, for your support of the club as an annual media sponsor. Master Rental, thanks to Deron Lavin, past board member, for donating equipment for tonight's event. Cassidy Electrical Contractors, thank you to Randy and Mike Cassidy. May Cassidy was one of our first panelists at this event. She passed away last year, but no doubt left a legacy of what it means to be a strong woman. Internal Medicine Associates, Healthcare Medicine Associates, thank you to the whole Rink family. Allison Rink is on the board, and Dr. Larry Rink was a speaker at our Boys to Men event this past fall. This is where I said, Dr. Prawl, I thank you. I do not even know how to pronounce ventrilorenal, and I don't even know. So I wasn't gonna mess it up. I was like, but Dr. Prawl, wherever you're at, I thank you. I can do that one. To IU Health, thank you, Brian, Shauna, and everyone at IU Health. Cook Medical, we are so thankful for Steve, Pete, Dan, Amy, and many other supporters from Cook. Next, I want to thank our silver sponsors who sponsored a table tonight. That will be Bill C. Brown Associates, the Matthew Snyder Group of Bard, Ivy Tech Community College, Hoosier Hills Credit Union, Ellie Mae's Boutique, Kirkwood Photo Lab, Todd Whitlock Family Dentistry, and Go Express Travel. And the bronze sponsors, JC Bank, Duke Energy, Sharingport Architects, First American Trust, Susan Yaley Homes, City of Bloomington, Sterling Real Estate, Monroe County Public Library, Lola and Company, FAR Center for Contemporary Arts, Indiana University School of Nursing, Karen Pipkin, Realtor, and Mark Lee's Rental and Staging. Thank you all so much for your support and generosity to the club. Now let's have a round of applause for all of our sponsors. Aubrey, look at you running to the stage. Now we have a special treat to kick off tonight. Aubrey Clampett is a talented young woman who has written and composed an original song specifically for this event to perform for you all tonight. And Andrew Clampett, along with their 3 children, Audrey, Naomi, and Lincoln, are strong club supporters. Andrew also grew up in the club and was a board member. We are so thankful to have their wonderful family connected to the club and the work that we do. And the words of Audrey's song are in your program. As you listen, you can follow along. Now, would you please join me in welcoming Audrey Clampett to the stage.
Opportunity, write a song out of it. I've learned to wait a little while. Good things come with patience. I've learned so many things. Whenever I hit a valley, learn without valleys, there wouldn't be mountains. I learned there are flowers without rain. I took my anxiousness and I gave it all away. Ignore the writing on the wall, it didn't help at all. I turned my pain into a story, built a tower from a fall. I've learned all these things, I think I'm having growing pains. I found my rock at the bottom when I hit rock bottom. I found my joy in my problems, I finally solved them. I learned so many things, all cause I'm growing from the rain, turned me to a flower. I learned there are flowers without rain. I took my anxiousness and I gave it all away. Ignore the writing on the wall, it didn't help at all. I turned my pain into a story, built a tower from a fall. I've learned all these things, I think I'm having growing pains. Ooh. From your hurting, from your sorrow, everything good, everything beautiful blooms. Without your tears and open wounds, you wouldn't be as strong, smart, or able. Cause you're growing from what you're going through. I learned there aren't sunrises without dusk. I learned there isn't light without the dark. There can't be warmth without winter, or beauty without scars. I've learned all these things cause I'm having growing pains. Growing pains.
I'm like, this night is just all tears. But here's what I do know, Aubrey got a standing ovation. I was like, wow, when she started opening her mouth, we were like, what? Wait a second now. You know, you see, I didn't talk about any of my choir directors. They didn't help me get that great. But what an amazing song and incredible talent. I don't know if you caught the chorus or you read it, but she said, I learned there aren't sunrises without dusk. I learned there isn't light without dark. There can't be warmth without winter or beauty without scars. I learned all these things because I'm having growing pains. If you want to support Audrey, her handle on social media is in the program. We hope you share her music far and wide to inspire others like we have all been inspired tonight. One more round for her beauty and her song and all that she's doing. I also again want to thank you all for being here during this busy time of year to attend, participate, and give at this wonderful annual event celebrating Women for Girls. I know that you would agree with me that there could not be a more important time to be empowering the young women in our community. Building the strong future leaders of our community must be our #1 priority. We need to build confident, smart, generous, and determined leaders that will take their place in our special community. Young women who will guide us through challenging times ahead. Young women who will ensure that this community will continue to be a place for everyone. A place that ensures opportunities for all women and continues to fight for those in our community who trust and need us the most. We want all the citizens in this community to do well because we rely deeply on our collective success. Far too many young women today lack the nurturing, confident, and encouraging adults in their lives that will model, train, and coach them through their formative years. For more than 650 children each and every day, the Boys and Girls Club provides the safety net for these vulnerable youth. And for only $20 per year, these young people can become Boys and Girls Club members and have access to programs such as Smart Girls Program. And again, I don't know what all y'all buy, and I know Amazon brings it to your house if you're on Prime, but $20 a year gets these young women this opportunity. Remember this when the auction starts. So thank you for being here tonight as we stand for and with these young women to ensure that they have a special place to be fed their desire to fulfill their destiny in taking their place in this great community. Without further ado, let's begin our program for the evening by introducing our moderator, Susie Graham, for tonight's discussion with Sarah Laughlin and Doris Sims. Susie Graham is the Executive Director of Development for the Bloomington campus of Ivy Tech Community College, a role she has served in for 10 years. She is the founding director of the Camp Center for Lifelong Learning, which promotes access to non-credit learning for all ages. Her liberal arts education paved way for her career that has spanned from trade association management to public relations to education and fundraising. She's a member of the Bloomington Rotary Club and past president of the Indiana Council on Continuing Education and Bloomington Lifelong Learning Coalition. Her board service has included Area 10 Agency on Aging, Lotus Educational Arts Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Leadership Bloomington Alumni Association. Susie and her husband, Andy, are the parents of 2 sons, Alex and Evan, and have lived in Bloomington since 1988. We're honored to have her here tonight. Please join me in welcoming Susie Graham to the stage.
Excuse this lull. This is the charm of working on the fly and being able to roll with the flow. I apologize for that, but I am happy now to get the program rolling. I'm going to introduce our two guests who are going to be telling some amazing stories about their own journey and how they have, I think, probably continued on to reach their full potential, which of course is why we're here tonight, right? To support the good work of Boys and Girls Clubs as they are as they're helping girls do that as well. And before we get started, I do have to give a shout out to my Ivy Tech peeps who are here tonight. Whoa, yeah. And I want to say as well to the women's basketball team, I hope you know how much joy and pride you have brought to this community. I've never met a single one of you, but you just rock. Let's stand up. Y'all getting a standing uh-oh. Sarah Laughlin has lived in the Bloomington area since 1977. She led the Stone Hills Library Network for 17 years, worked as a consultant for 10 years, and ended her career as director of the Monroe County Public Library, where she oversaw a substantial increase in usage, completed 2 strategic plans, added a children's room to the Ellettsville branch, renovated the main library to add teen and digital creativity spaces, and implemented RFID and automated materials handling. Over her career, she was very involved in state and national library organizations. Since retiring, she has been an active community volunteer and has served as president of Bloomington Rotary, Teachers Warehouse, Buskirk Chumley Theater Management, and the Amos Lemon Burkhart Foundation. Would you help me welcome Sarah? Hello. You're welcome. Either seat. Doris Sims retired from the City of Bloomington in 2021 after 38 years of service. Upon retirement, she served as the Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, where she was responsible for providing leadership in the management of a $2.5 million budget in federal and local funds, and oversaw a staff of 16 employees. In 2018, Doris was awarded the Women Who Excel Award from the Bloomington Chamber of Commerce in recognition of her leadership and commitment to excellence, and was awarded the Alumni Achievement Award from the Indiana University Neil Marshall Alumni Club for outstanding leadership in 2019. She is also the recipient of the Vi Taliaferro Award from the Monroe County Democratic Party for her outstanding work within the Bloomington community. Doris currently serves on the boards of Habitat for Humanity and Indiana University Credit Union, where she is chair. She is a proud member of the Monroe County Black Caucus and the Democratic Women's Caucus, where she serves on the steering committee. As a member of Second Baptist Church in Bloomington, she serves as president of the Usher Board, co-secretary to the Board of Trustees, and a member of the Missionary Circle. Would you help me welcome Doris?
Number 3.
How's that?
Are we live? Yes,
I think you're live. Great. So we have about 45 minutes to share some stories with you, which is going to go very quickly because both of these women have some amazing stories to tell. As you're listening to the questions, as you're listening to their responses, please keep in mind what their lives have been and how that translates to what Boys and Girls Club is doing, right? How these women have reached their potential and how we're continuing to help young women do that here through the club. So to get to know them, we're going to ask just a few easy questions, right? Straight off the top. So Doris, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how those early life experiences shaped who you have become today.
Well, I'm not originally from Bloomington. I'm sure that a lot of us out there are not. I grew up in Evansville, Indiana, and in a 2-parent household, and pretty much had a normal young childhood until I became in my teenage years. And then that's when who I am today, I think helped form who I am today. I was a teenage mother. I had my first child, a beautiful daughter named Kamisha, at the age of 15. And then when I turned 16, my mother passed away. And so here I was, a young mother at 15 and 16 without a mother. And so I decided that I wanted to make a better life for my daughter and I, so I wanted to go off to college. And so I went to my guidance counselor, and that's why I encourage all young people that guidance counselors are there for a reason, and they can help guide you. And my guidance counselor informed me of a program called Groups here at Indiana University. And so I came up on the Groups program. I met a nice man who I ended up marrying, my husband Jim, who's up front here. But I did, continue with my education, and not only did I graduate from IU with a bachelor's in public administration, but I also have a master's degree as well.
Great. Sarah, help us know a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I grew up in Richmond, Indiana. Lots of famous people from Richmond. And I had a middle-class upbringing. It was the 50s in a small town in Indiana. It seemed like it was the world. My dad was an engineer. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she had a college degree in art education, which she, and my dad traveled a lot in his job, so she was really the main child raiser, and guess what? We did a lot of art projects. You could keep kids busy for a long time with a thing of watercolors or, some clay, some silly putty, whatever. We did a lot of that, and that's probably why I have two sisters who are artists, painters, and my brother's an engineer, but he makes 3D animations in his spare time. So something about those engineering genes and artist genes molded together. And I think it's why I think of myself as being creative and independent, and those two things have both been a great gift to me.
Serve you well, in your current life. So you have both lived really full, successful lives and held significant positions of leadership, both in your jobs, your careers, but also as volunteers and serving the community. Can you speak to how the experiences that you have had and the people you have known or worked with have contributed to finding your own voice as a leader? Doris?
Well, I would like to think that instead of finding my voice, I think uplifting my voice, that I've had to uplift my voice, especially as a Black woman. And, even though Bloomington is a very diverse town, it still has a very small minority, particularly Black population. And sometimes I felt that my voice wasn't being heard. So I felt I had to uplift my voice to make me being recognized and heard, and realize that I have a lot to contribute, not only as a Black woman, but a woman in general, and to make sure that, my contributions were taken as seriously as anyone else's contribution who may be in the same situation or be part of a team that I was part of. And so, I think that is what made me who the person I am, of having to uplift my voice, be heard, and I think sometimes people wished I would have quieted down some, but...
They would never say that about me. For me, I think being a Girl Scout all the way through high school was very important for me in getting my feet on the ground, finding my voice. My three best friends and I were in the same troop. In fact, we were kind of the troop through most of high school. We found some adult who was willing to sign the paperwork for us so we could continue to do the camping and stuff that we wanted to do. I gained a lot of self-confidence over the years doing that, because we were often cold, wet, hungry, frequently lost somewhere, and we managed to find our way out. And so I think that was my first high-performing team that I experienced, and I think I've been looking for that for the rest of my life. And oh my gosh, what fun we had. And then I had several mentors in my professional career. I can think of a handful. Doug Robinson, who was the first branch manager I worked for in Cincinnati, who really taught me that who showed me right away that my decisions were fine and I should go ahead and make them, gave me the confidence to do that. Betty Martin, who was the director of the Vigo County Public Library, who hired me for the library network job right out of pretty much with very little experience. And she called every week to see how things were going, but she wasn't right present. And she encouraged me to be the director and gave me positive feedback and supported me. And I continued to call her for the next 40 years of my career for advice when I needed it. And I'm sure you all have people like that in your lives too, who just somehow understand you right away, and you can go to them with confidence. And then there was Steve Moberly, fast forwarding a few years. He replaced me on the library board at the Monroe County Public Library when the politics changed at the county commissioners. And then a couple of years later, he called and asked me if I would be interested in being the interim director. We had known each other. He was a state legislator. He was a passionate library advocate, had carried most of the library bills in the legislature during the time that I was kind of involved with that, so I knew him pretty well. And he took a big chance on me. I was a girl who had managed a $200,000 budget, 4 people at the most, and he made me the director of a library with 170 employees, $12 million budget, 150,000 square feet of extremely public space. And I continue to be great friends at Rotary and elsewhere, and I really am so grateful to him for giving me a chance. And then Ray Wilson, my consulting partner for 10 years, who helped me realize that I love being part of a high-performing team. And I've been so fortunate to work with people who cared about my success and believed I could be a leader, even at times when I wasn't so sure of that myself. And I want to recognize the library people who are here tonight and the Rotary people who are here tonight, and all my other friends who turned out for me.
Thanks for that. So we have 2 themes tonight that we're trying to focus on as we think about young women reaching their potential. One is education. So I want to ask you first, Doris, how has education been a defining characteristic in your life? And how can we best encourage that value among young girls?
Well, you know, as I stated earlier, when I was young, I went to my guidance counselor and said, you know, I want to go to college. I didn't really know where I wanted to go, but I know I wanted to go to college. And she told me about the Groots program. In fact, you know, I told all my friends once I was accepted that I was going to the University of Indiana, because I didn't know it was really called Indiana University. You know, and then I came up here, and, you know, I think it made a lot to be part of this. And as I said, being a young mother and meeting my husband, I'm having a lot of friends who I met who are still, I have a girlfriend who we met in college in my sophomore years, and we're still friends over 40 years later. And so education has meant a lot to me, you know, and not only to me, I instill it into both of my children. In fact, my whole family, my 2 kids, my husband and all, we're all Indiana University graduates, and so I made it feel to my children, I let them and told them how important it is to have an education to fall back on and to actually increase your career opportunities.
Sarah, before I let you take that question, I'm going to shine a little extra light on Doris, who I get to see in the halls at Ivy Tech, because in retirement, she is now taking part in our hospitality program in our baking and pastry lab. So Doris is walking the halls with her chef garb on, right? And coming out after having made bread or pastries or all kinds of things.
Yes, my chef outfit, because I look really great in my hat and my chef suit. But I did, you know, I really believe in education and the importance of education. And one of the things that I did is that when I retired, I never baked for my kids when they were smaller. You know, I was to go to the grocery store and get that, you know, Pillsbury Doughboy cookies and bake them for an event that they had at school, or cake mix boxes. So I wanted to learn how to bake. And, you know, if you have the opportunity of taking any continuing education classes or any classes from Chef Stacy out at Ivy Tech's culinary program, I mean, she makes the smell of sourdough bread, sounds so exciting and sexy that you really want to be able to do it. And so, I really appreciate Chef Stacy. And so I have one more class to complete my certificate. And then, I appreciate my family and friends who've had to taste some of my creations, and not once has someone said, particularly my husband, this is not good at all, which I appreciate a lot.
Sarah, tell us about the role of education in your life.
Well, I had a great public school education, and with teachers who challenged me and rewarded me with, somehow I managed to graduate from high school loving art and writing and history and science and math and social studies. And I had good grades, and I had leadership positions, and I got a scholarship to go to college. So that was all good. But then I was a little lost once I got there, because I had to translate that, as so many of you remember, that horrible feeling of, I'm really good at going to school, but I got to figure out some way to make money in the rest of my life. This isn't going to be enough. And it took me a little while. I changed from graphic design to history, which was even less marketable. I don't think I really found myself until I got married when I was a junior. I don't think I really found myself until I came back to Bloomington, walked through the library school by mistake, and thought, here is the place for somebody who likes all of the content and can't really decide. I think I don't have to choose. I can do this. So it played a really important part in my life. And what I used to say to people about the public library is, we believe that education and information can make a difference in your life, a positive difference in your life. And I really believe that.
So let's talk a little bit about the role of volunteerism and service. Doris, I'll go to you. Oh, you okay? Go to you first.
We're going to let Sarah go first.
Oh, she's tired of being first. I think my introduction to service was Girl Scouts. So early on, in elementary school and middle school and high school. And it made me feel so good that I wanted to do more of it. But for the first 27 years of my professional career, I was traveling, and I had 2 kids, and it just wasn't possible for me to get very involved as a volunteer in Bloomington, so I didn't until I went to the library. But then I realized that was really part of my role, was to be out representing the library in the community, and to do that I needed to be out there. So I joined Rotary. Steve Moberly invited me to join Rotary, which was one of the biggest gifts he ever gave me. And I think that's really where I found my next high-performing team, and the motto of service above self, and the opportunity for community service, which has led me to Teachers Warehouse and the Buskirk Chumley Theater and my sister's foundation. And it's what I get out of bed for now.
Well, as stated earlier, I actually worked for the city of Bloomington for almost 40 years. So I was a public servant. And so as a public servant, you are involved in a lot of things within your community. Because I worked for the city of Bloomington, it could be stopping me in the grocery store and say, hey, Doris, when's my trash going to be picked up? Or something about why the water is a different color. So, that, I think, helped with my ability and my willingness to want to actually serve others. And I believe in my service and the organizations that I have been involved in. It's something that I believe in. And so that's why I volunteer my time. And I've been part of United Way. I've been part of Girls Inc. Currently I serve on the Habitat for Humanity Board because I believe in affordable housing. I've worked in that area for over 20 years. I've been part of the Bloomington Housing Authority Board. I currently serve stated on the IU Credit Union Board because I believe in financial literacy, but I believe that everyone needs to know about their finances and how it stands and how just finances work. And I appreciate my credit union family who are here tonight, here to support me, so I appreciate that as well. But I think public service is being a public servant for everyone, to be able to be part of what you believe in, to serve the organizations that you want to be a part of, and to give back to your community. And that's why I do public service, is to give back to the community of Bloomington, who I feel has given a lot to me.
So can either of you speak a little bit more to that in terms of the importance of modeling volunteerism and service for young women, right? Young people in general.
Yes, I think, you know, now that I've reached the white hair status, people ask advice all the time. They think you might know something. And I think the best advice I give young people is to get involved in something that you care about. Keep looking until you find it, but then just, you know, get involved in something. You'll meet people, you'll learn things, you'll be able to make a difference with other people. You can make a little bitty difference yourself, but you can make a much bigger difference if you're part of a bigger team. And finding that team that you like working with and that's doing the work that is important is part of it's my joy. It's not laying on a beach somewhere with a rum punch. It's, you know, doing something I didn't know if I could get done with a group of people I really like.
Well, I don't know about Sarah, because I could be on a beach with a drink right now, but but I really believe for young people, you know, not only to get involved, but to ask questions, you know, to be curious about the Bloomington community that you serve. You know, there's so many opportunities for young people to get involved within our community. You know, even if you're young, you can be part of the Boys and Girls Club, as we can see one of the members who came back and sung tonight and did a beautiful job. So I think that it's always to be curious, to be involved, to ask questions, and to just be part of the community that I hope all of you love being part of.
So, Sarah, a little bit ago, you've mentioned Steve Moberly a couple of times, and I don't know if he will be the answer to this question, but can you describe a time in your life where someone stepped in and made a defining difference for you?
No, I'm going to pick Betty Martin this time because, as I mentioned, I was kind of floundering when I was in school. I had good grades and all that. I went to library school, and you know, I was working at the School of Library Science as the director of admissions after a couple of years at a public library in Cincinnati. But I was topped out. You know, I had a lot more capability, I felt like, than I was able to use there. And so I got the chance to be the director of this 17 county library network. And it was federally funded, kind of somewhat shaky funding, and probably not a job that a lot of people would take on, very poorly defined in some ways, but it was the perfect canvas for me. And I stayed there 17 years. I learned how to write grants, I learned how to design programs, I learned how to work with the board, I learned how to manage a budget, I learned how to make a presentation, and those were actually the things that led me later on to the public library at the end of my career, and to making a bunch of money as a consultant for 10 years. So I learned that I really liked working with people and getting stuff done in the mission that I believed in. So I hand it to her.
Doris.
When I think back on my life, it is a person who helped inspired me was a woman by the name of Betty Merriman Cochran. And Betty actually hired me in my first job straight out of college to work for the city of Bloomington. You know, I say 1979 was a great year for me because I graduated from IU, I married the love of my life, and I started working for the city of Bloomington and started my public servant career. But Betty hired me to work at the city of Bloomington, and I always say that Betty saw in me something that I didn't see in myself, and she was there to help nurture my career at the city of Bloomington. Betty was a strong public servant, so she showed me what that was like. Betty worked not only for the city of Bloomington, but she worked for the state of Indiana. She was their budget director, and she retired as CEO for Planned Parenthood of Indiana. And so when Betty Cochran called me up and said, would you be on my Planned Parenthood board? And I do believe in a woman's right to choose. So I was part of her. Thank you. So I served on her board and was also her board chair, but she was there for me when I, made a career change and decided that I was going to go work for the state of Indiana as well, and talked to her about that and what that would look like as I made a transition in my career. And Betty was always there for me, and unfortunately, Betty passed away during COVID, and I still miss that, sound voice of reasoning in my ear. Even though I'm retired, she was just a great friend and a great mentor for me.
It sounds like both of your lives would be very different if you hadn't had their involvement. So I think of both of you as tremendous role models for young women. How have you seen the role for and of women change during your lifetime or career? And what makes you hopeful about the next generation of girls and young women? You choose, right?
I think, seeing the roles of what young women are doing here today in our community, especially Black women here in our community of color. I think of Maquiba Reese, who is the president of our local Monroe County NAACP. I think about Jennifer Crossley, who is our first Black county councilwoman, but most of all, I think about Jennifer's daughter, who at her high school, her and a couple of friends, and Jennifer's daughter's name is Sydney, how Sydney, with her friends, went to the MCCS school administration, and when they felt that they were not being treated fairly as women of color, spoke out to the school system and said, you need to do something about our situation. And I feel so proud of Sydney as a young Black woman who was able to lift her voice and say to the school system, here, recognize us, see us, and we're not going away. You're going to have to deal with our situation. And so seeing young women like her makes me encouraged. I feel that one day that Sydney may be our first Black woman mayor here in Bloomington. She is just that strong of a young girl.
I applied for architecture school in 1967 when I graduated from high school, and they told me it would be very difficult for me because I was a woman. They didn't really think I should do it. I began working in libraries, but by all accounts, a feminized profession. And at that time, men held all the most important upper management positions. They were the directors of local libraries, they were the state librarians, they led the national organizations, there were male legislators. But it was the 1970s, and my generation of young, well-educated, and liberated women were challenging all those roles. So I've seen an enormous change in those years. And it took a generation, but the leadership roles are now largely available to and frequently held by very capable women. Male-dominated legislatures, though, and courts are still making decisions very detrimental to women. And I think there's important work to be done by the generation coming up.
Yeah. So we're going to change course here a little bit and touch on a topic that we really haven't brought up at all throughout the evening, and that has to do with the role of men in raising strong women. So Doris, I'll start with you. Can you speak to how the role of male figures in your daughters' lives looked as they were growing up?
Well, I think in my daughter's life as grown up, probably her strongest male role model, of course, was my husband and her dad. And she was a big daddy's girl. And But one of the things that I think that my husband instilled in my daughter, and not only my daughter, but my son as well, is a sense of family and a community of family and how strong the bond family is. And knowing that, you know, whatever my daughter wanted to do as she was growing up, that she had her family behind her. You know, through good times, through bad times, we were there with my daughter, you know, as she was growing up when she decided, you know, that she wanted to become a nurse, so went off to nursing school and helping to support her through that effort. And then, you know, when my daughter became sick with cancer, we as a family unit was there to support my daughter. You know, my husband and I, we lost our daughter 2 years ago to cancer, but I think that she knew from day one that she always had the support of her family, not only my husband and I, but her little brother Jimmy as well, that we as a family unit, that we would stick together through thick and thin, no matter what. We lifted each other up, and we were there for each other. And so that is what I feel that my husband instilled in my daughter, is the strong bond of family.
That's lovely. Good job, Jim. Yeah. Sarah, how about Tim's role and other strong males in your daughter's life?
My spectacular daughter is here tonight. She is the chief of staff for the vice provost of student affairs at IU and a proud member of the Boys and Girls Club board. So stand up, Hannah. Take it out.
There she is.
And I think I've had some role in demonstrating leadership and volunteering for her. And I knew that when she was in high school, because I dropped in one day at the back end of some classroom or something, and there was Hannah up in the front with a flip chart and a marker facilitating a group discussion about something. I was like, okay, she's been paying attention. But she wasn't just paying attention to me. She was a daddy's girl, too. Her dad was her North Star, no question about it. He was a custom home builder, best in the business. She rode with him every Saturday on his rounds to check on his rental houses. And I thought she was in it for the Crescent Donut stop that was somewhere on the route every time, but she was also paying attention. Now she manages our 6 rental houses and is fully capable of changing a lock set, hanging a blind, tiling a bathroom, managing a complex project, and many, many more, because it's different every Saturday. So that's the role of my husband in raising my kids. And my son, I have a son too who's in New York now. He's a Google data scientist. We don't even know what that means. But he occasionally is doing home projects too. And I think the part of it that he got from his dad was the cussing.
My daughter didn't get that.
So we're going to wrap up our discussion now, reflecting on, the forces that have changed all of our own lives as we have grown and become leaders in our own spheres of influence. So what can we do as a community of volunteers to ensure that the smart girls in our community have every opportunity to reach their full potential?
Well, I guess I go first. Okay. I think what we can do is that we can be mentors to our young girls. I think that is so important, as I mentioned, as Betty Cochran was my mentor, to be mentors to young girls, and also to be role models. I think you sometimes don't realize who are watching you and what your steps are when someone come up and say, yes, I saw you at a particular event. Yes, something you said resonated with me. And so I think being role models and realize that you may have nieces, you may have daughters, you may have young cousins, you may have grandchildren who are watching what you're doing, and sometimes, imitating that. And so to be great role models is important as well. And I think that it's also important to reach out to young people and be part of young people's lives. That's why I really appreciate the Boys and Girls Club. When my son was younger, it was only the boys' club, but I worked right across the street. It was a great influence for my son's life. It gave him great recreational activity after school, but it also made him find good friends that he's had for a lifetime. And, you know, and of course, he played in this same gym. I don't think it looked like that way 40 years ago, or at least, but it still is a great gym. And so I think that's why the Boys and Girls Club as an organization, as well as Girls Inc., are so important to our young people here within our community, because they help them be strong and be productive citizens as they grow older for our Bloomington community.
I won't repeat that list because that was pretty much what was on my list too, is, you know, be a role model. I spent last night at Bloomington High School North, where it was the service learning career night. And that is always just such a fantastic event. 150 students who had done community internships, making presentations about what they learned and what they liked, and how, you know, how the business they were involved with worked. And I just love being in that space. And then this morning I had coffee with, and I'm going to mess up this name again, a woman that I met at the Buzzkirk Chumley podcast session a couple weeks ago, Kayasan Sanjani. I don't know. It's a beautiful lyrical name that it's got lots of apostrophes and everything, and I haven't quite mastered it yet. But anyway, she's a spectacular student who is involved in this project we were involved with the documenting the history of Black movie-going in Bloomington at the Indiana Theater from 1922 to 1948, when it was desegregated. And she's a student. She's getting ready to graduate. She wanted to know if I would help her, you know, with her next steps. And that was just so much fun. So it can be just coffee with somebody you don't know very well. And that was, I think, just about as much fun for me as it was for her. And then I think, you know, being in their lives, just being present, being a volunteer, being somebody you can call, whether that's a neighbor or a church member or a school volunteer, whatever that might mean. And the last one I have on my list is, maybe you should think about contributing to the Boys and Girls Club.
You'll get that opportunity later on tonight.
To support smart girls and make sure they turn into strong women. I love sponsoring a child I may never meet. I really like that idea of just, I send it out there in the world and it's benefiting someone that I may never personally meet, but it's helping anyway. And I'm so fortunate myself, and so now, as I've said before, my main focus is, you know, giving back and giving meaning to my life. So I hope you find a way to help the Boys and Girls Club too.
So, thank you, yes. As we bring our discussion to a close, I'm going to editorialize here for just a moment, because tonight is not about me, it's about these amazing women here who are next to me. But I will say this. When I was a young mother working full-time, my husband was working full-time, I had 2 young boys, I didn't know about the Boys and Girls Club. My boys were latchkey kids, and I so regret not knowing about this opportunity. They turned out okay, right? They're good boys, they're doing the right thing, but I think about the additional guidance and support they could have had in their lives at a time when I couldn't be there to give it to them. And because my husband, he was a sports writer, he was gone largely in the evenings. And so he didn't have the kind of time with them as well that he wanted. So that was just a black hole of knowledge, of communication. I just didn't know that it was even here. So I would charge each of you here tonight, in addition to supporting financially what the clubs are doing, be an ambassador. If you know of any families who have young children, talk about Boys and Girls Club, promote it, talk about the value, because there may be a Susie Graham out there who just doesn't know, right? that it's even there and available for them. So I will end it there. I want to thank Doris. I want to thank Sarah for your stories tonight. And thanks to Leslie for your great work as well.
I'm over there talking instead of doing my job. What a panel discussion, right? Here we go. Is everyone having a good time tonight? I should have told you I'm the niece of a pastor, so we always do a lot of call and response stuff. I won't do that today, but a lot of times in church, what he would make me do is turn to my neighbor and say something. So I want you to turn to your neighbors and tell them how glad you are to see them here tonight. You see that the energy in the room just skyrocketed. That's how he did it, and he usually did it before, he would preach, so we would be alert and ready to go. I want to thank again Sarah and Doris and Susie for their panel discussion. Doris, if I knew that all I had to do was go to IU to groups to find me a husband, I would have came to Bloomington instead of Athens. Wow. I had to throw that in there. Okay, there we go. All right. So can I get another round of applause for these three strong women? I'm so excited to welcome up our next guest, club member Bella and Resource Development Director at the club, Leslie Absher. Come on, Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Can we give it up for Maddie, too, by the way? Isn't she doing a great job? All right. So this is Bella. She is a club member, and we're going to do a little interview for you. We want you to see some of our teens and some of our girls who are actually supporting tonight. Both Bella and Empress, who you'll hear from in just a second, were part of our Youth of the Year program, which is a program that empowers our teens to learn how to be confident, to learn how to public speak. This is a really good opportunity for them to learn how to public speak, right? Yes, it's nervous for all of us up here, and they're going to do a great job. It's an opportunity for them to craft a speech. They craft letters of recommendation. They put together resumes. We're trying to teach them how to professionalize themselves a little bit, right? Shake hands, look someone in the eye. And they actually both presented as finalists at the Ferguson Crestmont Club to our judges this year for Youth of the Year. So they went through that whole process in this teen program. It's really about empowering our kids and giving them confidence and helping them learn how to be more confident. So this is a great opportunity for them. So we're going to do a little Q&A here with Bella. So Bella, why don't you tell us how old you are and how long you've been at the club?
You
can share your name again. That's good.
My name is Bella Estrada. I am 14 years old, and I've been at the club for 2 years, I believe.
Awesome. Okay. So Bella, tell us what your favorite thing is about the club. You want to hold the mic?
Sure. The people are definitely my favorite thing. It makes me feel very welcomed and comfortable in my own skin and my environment.
Awesome. Good. So good role models, right? We just heard about that from Sarah and Doris. Good people at the club. So that's awesome. So you participated in Youth of the Year, which I just told everybody about. What did you learn from Youth of the Year, Bella?
I learned how to be determined in whatever I am doing and how to properly calm myself down in a situation that I am not exactly comfortable or knowledgeable about.
Yeah, so this is kind of nerve-wracking, right? This whole thing, and that whole process sort of helps you learn. We all have nerves, right? It helps us learn how to deal with those nerves and how to move forward through those nerves and all of that, right? So tell us a little bit. We talked about role models in this event, so we asked these girls who their role models were and why. So tell us a little bit about someone you look up to and why.
My mom, she is a single mother who has 3 kids, me and my 2 siblings. She has worked day and night from the moment I was born, and I look up to her because she's a very, very hard worker. And I want to be like her when I'm in my adulthood. Because she's very resilient, very determined to do a lot of things and make sure that we're happy in our childhood. So I want to be like her.
Awesome. Good job, Mom. Way to go. Mom is here. Thanks, Bella. Good work. All right, now I'm going to have Empress come up, and Bella will come back up in just a minute. But I'd like to have you welcome Empress as she comes up to the stage. All right, so Empress actually won our Ferguson Crestmont Youth of the Year. So she's our winner for the Ferguson Crestmont Club. So we're very proud of both of these women. They're doing a great job. And so we asked Empress the same questions that we asked Bella, and so we'll have her share with you. So Empress, you tell us a little bit about, you could say your name, how old you are, and how long you've been at the club. You want to hold the mic? Okay.
Hello, I'm Empress, and I'm 14 years old, and I've been here for 7 years.
7 years. So move up a little bit, girl. They want to see your beautiful outfit. So Empress was actually at our club when it was the tiny little duplex apartment, weren't you? Yeah, and she helped us move into our new building. So Empress has been with us quite a while, and Empress is a role model for the teens. At the Christmas time, I saw a picture of Empress making gingerbread houses, and she had led a gingerbread house contest with the younger kids. So the kids really look up to Empress at the club. She's a staple there for sure. So Empress, you were involved in the club for a long time, so certainly you have some favorite things, right? What are your favorite things at the club?
My favorite things at the club are seeing my favorite staff and also doing cooking club.
Okay, so cooking club. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've made at cooking club.
We've made tofu, and we made like spaghetti and stuff.
Nice. And had you had tofu before cooking club?
No.
So, yeah, Empress is learning about lots of new foods at the cooking club, right? Yes. We love cooking club, and we love that our kids are excited about cooking club. That's a really critical skill for all of us to have, right? And we heard Doris is taking classes and learn how to do it now, too. So it's really important for all of us to know how to do that, so that's great. And so you did Youth of the Year. What is something that you learned from Youth of the Year?
I learned to be more determined and be more challenged while doing it, and also learning how to be more mature and do my hard work.
Awesome. Can you tell us, what do you mean by be more mature? What ways did you mature through the process?
Staying up most of the time, and also like working through it, and also like saying what I wasn't going to do for the speech.
Yeah, so she had to work on this speech, right, which is great. She also had to take time when other kids were, playing dodgeball or just having games and having fun, and Empress was working on her speech, she was working on her questions, she was working on her public speaking. So that takes a lot of maturity, right, to choose to do something that you know is going to be kind of difficult and better yourself instead of just playing and having fun. So that we're really proud of both of them for doing that. And then Empress, you tell us who you looked up to and why.
My mom, because half of the time I was doing Youth of the Year, she was there to support me and make me laugh and smile. And she's like one of my favorite people, and she's like one of my best friends.
Awesome. Awesome. Good job, Mom. Mom's here too. All right, Maddie, come on up here. We got something fun we're gonna do, and I'm actually gonna have Empress and Bella come back up and help us. Okay, so you might have noticed that the IU women's basketball team is here with us tonight. So we're talking about smart girls and strong women. Certainly, these are strong women in our community, and not just because they're awesome on the basketball court, but because they're awesome people. They are great role models for all of our girls at the club, and us, honestly. The way that they win, the way that they are a team, their sportsmanship, the way that they practice, their effort they give, and the way that they give back to the community. These women are certainly strong women role models, and so we want to honor them today. So Empress and Bella, come on up. We have some gifts for them. And then please stand and welcome the IU women's basketball team up on the stage.
here we go. All right, ladies, Empress and Bella are passing out to you pins that say smart and strong on them, and we hope you wear them proudly, knowing that you are smart and strong role models for so many young girls. So we wanted to honor you tonight for the wonderful, historic season that you had. So please, another round of applause for our team. I brought up another tissue just in case I get emotional, because I'm blessed to work in a department and get to work with these ladies every day. Some probably more than other, right, Mac? When I'm texting Mac, like, look, me and Mac had a little texting thing going on. But, you know, just really, here I go. I promise I'm not always as sad all the time. I'm just a crier, just touch stuff. You can only imagine how I am with movies. But just proud of them. We want to honor you and thank you for being even better people than you are players. You give back to this community. You win the right way. You value academics. Loba's going to be here, but she's come back from Chicago. That's their academic advisor, so Loba's going to be here. You embody good sportsmanship and teamwork, and the list goes on and on. You're wonderful role models for the young girls who watch you, and you're even role models for old women like myself who try to find courage and want strength to be better every day. Thank you for being people and young women that we can look up to and players we can cheer for, not just on the court, but in life. So keep doing what you're doing. Let's go Hoosiers, and we appreciate you all. We have another special guest who couldn't be here today, but wanted to share some special words to you and a message for the audience.
Good evening. Sorry I cannot be there tonight with everyone, but I do know that Maddie White is probably killing it tonight in the audience. I also know that our players are there as well, and that they will be receiving an honor, which is so well deserved. We had a great season, and I can't tell you how proud I am of those women that are there with you guys tonight. Not only are they great players, but they are certainly great role models for the next generation. And I can promise you that they represent our program, the Indiana and our Bloomington community in the best possible way. And we're proud of them each and every day. Last year at this event that I got to attend, we raised a ton of money for young people that would provide them opportunities that they wouldn't have elsewhere. And so tonight I ask that you guys give in a big way, that we crush the number from a year ago, and we open up our checkbooks and we open up our hearts to provide all kinds of funds for these young people in the next generation. I know that you're passionate, I'm passionate, and to help in any way that we possibly can tonight. So I ask that you think about giving. It goes to the right place, and really proud to be a part of this community, as I know you guys are as well. Have fun tonight. God bless you. Thank you. As always, keep cheering on our basketball team, and go IU.
All right, so we're gonna try something here. Leslie's gonna help out because I'm not that tech savvy. I know the ladies can help us through this too. So since Coach can't be here, we wanted to create a video for her to let her know that we appreciate her and also have her in this space. Leslie, you ready?
Yeah, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take a video of Maddie saying hi, of players saying hi, and then I'm going to pan to all of you, and I want you to stand up and cheer as loud as you can for Coach, okay? Okay? All right. As soon as I turn around, go for it, okay?
Y'all ready?
Yeah. We're just
All
saying
right.
hi? Just
Yeah, you're gonna say hi.
Yeah. Okay. All right, ready? Wait till I say go.
All right, Terry, we're here tonight at the Smart Girls Strong Women event. Know that you couldn't be here, but we wanted you to have a piece of this evening. So I got a couple special guests on the stage. You want to say hi?
Hi, Coach.
But more importantly, I got a whole group of people out in the audience that want to say something. I know you're out on the road recruiting, but Terry, you are the epitome of a strong woman. You pour into these young women, you pour into your staff, you pour into those of us in the department. You know I think the world of you. I'm grateful for you, and I'm so excited to have you as our coach. I appreciate you and thank you for everything that you do for the Hoosiers and this community. And you know what? You issued us a challenge, and we're going to beat it. So tonight, you're going to be proud because the Maddie White night, we getting that money, okay, Terry? There you go. All right, ladies, so you're free to, There we go, yes. Empress and Bella, can you come back up on the stage? Spill. Oh, don't get lost. Okay, you want your bag? Thank you. All right, you ladies are free to go under one condition, and again, I talked to Lo. They travel a lot during the season. We're wrapping up the academic school year, so y'all leave and go home and study. Right, we're gonna check in on that because like we said, y'all good on the court, but I need you to be good in the class, right? So thank you all so much, appreciate you, and go Hoosiers! Now, as I go back and forth here, I know I'm gonna mess this up, but I gotta come back and talk about Bella and Empress. Thank you, thank Leslie. You young ladies are why we do what we do, but to your moms, I'm like, dang, when I hear someone talk about a mom, that always touched my heart, and I'm not a mom myself, but I know it's a lot of hard work. And so what I do know, and like I talked about, you see these two women, and you see what happens when people speak to their soul. Right? They get up here, even when they're nervous in the beginning, they find their composure, and look, they're up here doing better than me. I might as well give them the mic. So again, to Bella and Empress, let's give them another round of applause. There we go. One of those strong female leaders and supporters that impacted the club and the girls who attended was Anne St. John. Anne was a Smart Girls Strong Woman panelist in 2018, sharing her story of being a female entrepreneur and business owner, but also her personal story of her battle with cancer. Anne was a part of the club family and an inspiration to so many in our community. In 2019, Anne passed away. It was a great loss to our community and to all who knew her. Anne was the epitome of a strong woman. In 2021, the club gave its first female staff award at the Smart Girls Strong Women event. We decided we would like to continue this award annually to honor a female staff member at the club who embodies what it means to be strong women. And who better to name this award after than Anne St. John? Many people knew Anne as the founder of St. John and Associates. She was tenacious and friendly, a joy to all who knew her. But our next guest that I'm inviting to the stage knew her in a way that few others did. She called her Aunt Anne. Please join me in welcoming Sarah St. John Wolford to the stage to present the Anne St. John Strong Woman Award.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Wolford. I had the honor of having Anne St. John as my aunt. Aunt Anne grew up with loving parents. However, her parents were often a state, if not a continent, away because of their work. Due to this, Aunt Anne learned to rely on her siblings and what she called her chosen family, as much as her parents for support and encouragement. Her chosen friends and role models have played a crucial role in instilling the values that taught her how to be a smart girl and a strong woman. As an adult, Aunt Anne wanted to ensure that children in her community were taken care of, that there could be people around them, in addition to their parents, who would invest in them and in their success. She was vitally important to many kids' upbringings, including mine. When she married Uncle Michael, he had 4 children already. She embraced them as her own. She described their family as one of mergers and acquisitions, continuing the theme of chosen family. Aunt Ann knew that it was people in her life, not the things in it, that made her who she was. Even though she grew up to be a woman of means, she knew that it is people who make us who we are. Like Maddie White and Mr. and Mrs. Thompson's, we've all had that mentor, teacher, or coach who not only pushed us to win the game or read the chapter, but also made us believe in ourselves, who made us feel like we belonged, who pushed us to be our best selves. Those are the people we want teaching and helping our children. Aunt Ann was one of those people for me, making me feel respected, challenged, protected, and loved. Those people can change the trajectory of a person's life. That's why, when it came to donating to the Boys and Girls Club, Aunt Ann didn't only want to help purchase things. She wanted to invest in the people who worked here by supporting staff bonuses, professional development, and raises. Which brings me to tonight's honoree and recipient of the Anne St. John Strong Woman Award, Cheryl Perry Bruce. Would you please join me? She has been a part of the Boys and Girls Club's chosen family since she was a child, and she enjoys the ability to pay it forward to the club's current members. Justin, who nominated Cheryl, said, "Cheryl helms our membership desk and is the main artery of our Lincoln Street Club. She is also a comforter to members who approach the desk because they have a myriad of consequential and often not so consequential issues, which she handles with the same level of care while also ensuring members are safely checked in and picked up." Aunt Ann had a pet peeve of phrases like, "I have just a quick question," or "Could I just have a minute of your time?" Because these questions or moments are rarely quick and never take only a minute. Cheryl fields these kinds of requests all the time. Successful organizations rely on people like Cheryl, finding solutions and providing answers. She can ease a child's nerves about the first time being at the club because she has been in those shoes. She can personally attest to parents about her own quality experience and put their fears to rest. Cheryl knows all the children and parents by name. She greets everyone with a warm, reassuring smile and a level of intentionality that makes people feel seen. She is the face of the Lincoln Street Boys and Girls Club. I know if Aunt Ann were here today, she would be as honored to share this stage with you as I am. Congratulations, Cheryl.
How can you not see a smile like Cheryl's, not feel welcome in this space? I'm like, man, that smile just radiates. Thanks, Sarah, and congratulations again to Cheryl. The club truly does have remarkable staff, and the club girls deserve to have those remarkable staff as mentors. 31 years ago, the Boys Club started serving girls and became the Boys and Girls Club. It has been providing high-quality programming and mentors like Cheryl for local girls in Monroe County ever since. This year, the club had nearly equal membership of girls and boys, with 48% of all members being girls. We can clap for that. Across all 3 club locations, the club served more than 922 girls in 2022, nearly 300 a day. One of the programs funded by this event is the Smart Girls program. Smart Girls is a health, fitness, prevention, education, and self-esteem enhancement program for girls ages 8 to 18. Sounds like I should enroll, but I won't say my age, but I know it's not an age range. The Smart Girls program is research-based and comes from the national organization Boys and Girls Club of America. Encouraging young women to have healthy attitudes and lifestyles, Smart Girls help them reach their full potential as strong women. Through dynamic sessions, group activities, field trips, and mentoring opportunities with adult women, Club Girls enjoy the opportunity to build skills for eating right, staying physically fit, getting good health care, and developing many positive relationships. This is just one of the many programs the club offers to all that support girls. And your presence here and giving tonight helps these smart girls today become strong women of our community.